Tonight's upload is sponsored by APPZONE/FreeMyApps. APPZONE is a great way to get free gift cards by downloading and playing free games that you already enjoy playing. Please consider downloading the app by clicking the top link down below. Downloading this app is a great way to support the channel and a great way for you to get free gift cards.
Previously on Cartoon Fight Night.
What's up, Spider Guys and Spider Gals? Welcome to the 35th episode of Spider-Man Fight Night. I'm your host, Spider-Man is Bonkers, and if you're new to this series, be sure to check out the second episode. Not the first episode, because I had the utter nerve to not include our senpai Spider-Man. Okay, all joking aside, I'm your host, B is Bonkers, and if you're new to this series, be sure to check out the first episode, but if you know how the game is played, then let's get ready for yet another Spider-Man fight. But hopefully this one should be a bit different this time, as we have the Black Suit Spider-Man. Hooray for the incredible variety this series has. Anyways, tonight we have the rematch that's technically a rematch, but not actually the rematch. And oh god, I'm making this more confusing than it needs to be. Basically, it's the Spider-Man vs. Danny Phantom rematch. Just not the one we offered originally. I'll give you guys an update on that at the end of the video. Anyway, we have Black Suit Spider-Man taking on Dan Phantom in this Season 1 finale to Battle Card. The Google Plus series animated by Josh Medley. That's actually 80% Marvel fights and 40% Spider-Man fights. It sounds bad, but then you'll realize it's only 5 episodes and be less salty about it. Anyway, speaking of Josh Medley, he animated this episode, so huge thanks to him for that. Check out his Google Plus page and give him a follow if you enjoy the fights animation for tonight's episode. And if you like this episode of Battle Card, check out the rest of Season 1. All episodes have been featured in this series, those being Ghost Rider vs. Jeddah, Elsa vs. Spider-Man Rematch, Batman vs. Reaper, and Electro vs. Cole McGrath. Now, neither Black Suit Spider-Man or Dan Phantom have really had an analysis on CFC before, so we will be doing a pre-analysis for both characters. With all this being said, kick back, relax, and enjoy the pre-analysis. I'm sure you all know the origin by now. Peter Parker was your average science nerd, but a radioactive spider bit him and it turned him into the Amazing Spider-Man. He gained incredible increased superhuman stats, the ability to crawl on walls, and his trusty spider sense, which is basically Ultra Instinct before it was cool. Get with it, Goku, you're over a decade too late. Anyway, while he was on an outer space mission, Peter came across the black symbiote from the planet Clintar. The creature took a liking to him and ended up bonding with Peter's body. Peter now had a new suit and plenty of new abilities. Now, Peter had his physicality even further enhanced, gained the ability to heal, and could even use the suit as another form of webbing that he could shoot from anywhere and not have to worry about it running out. On top of all this, if Peter is knocked out, the suit can still continue fighting since it has a mind of its own. Spider-Man has some very impressive feats under his belt. He's held his own against the Hulk, defeated the Fantastic Four all at once, held up a part of the Daily Bugle skyscraper, tagged Quicksilver, which you would know if you watched any of the other Spider-Man episodes on this channel, as we treat that feat like a holy messiah, created a time machine, resisted deadly toxins, is considered smarter than Hank Pym, and cured a flesh-eating disease in minutes. But his most impressive feat is when he knocked goddamn Galactus on his arse. Though this could be seen as an outlier or plot-induced stupidity. Obviously, Spider-Man and the Black Symbiote are very powerful, and they're a powerful pair, but they are obviously not perfect. The symbiote can be weakened by loud vibrating noises and heat, and it does corrupt Peter's mind, making him incredibly violent. And Peter himself has his limits. He's not invincible. He can still take damage. His kryptonite is ethyl chloride pesticide. he also tends to hold back his power and not take fights seriously. His spider sense is also not perfect. It can be tricked. It won't alert him if anybody he deeply trusts attacks him. He has to consciously move in response to the spider sense. It's not an automatic thing. He's doubted it before and failed to move because of it. Also, anybody who's way too fast for him can easily make the spider sense irrelevant. Though considering it could let him react faster than like Quicksilver, this shouldn't be too much of an issue. Overall, Spider-Man is an incredibly powerful and smart superhero. The black symbiote can boost his stats even further and allow for regeneration, but it does make him a lot more violent. Peter also has his limits, both when it comes to physical stats and his spider sense. Okay guys, before I get into Dan and his abilities, I must address something very important. Butch Hartman himself confirmed on Twitter that the intro to Danny Phantom says, "Young Danny Fenton, he was just 14, not yo Danny Fenton, he was just 14. Get it right, you filthy casuals, or I swear to Darkseid I'll wipe you off the face of this omniverse." Anyway, I'm sure you all know the origin of these guys too. Danny Fenton was just 14, but then his parents built a very strange machine. It was designed to view a world unseen. It didn't quite work, so his folks just quit, so then Danny took a look inside of it. There was a great big flash, everything just changed, his molecules got rearranged. When Danny first woke up, he realized that he had snow white hair and glowing green eyes, he could walk through walls, disappear, and this script is literally just the Danny Phantom theme song, isn't it? Anyway, Danny had the powers of a ghost and used them to become a superhero. He went from Danny Fenton to Danny Phantom. Secret identities have never been more secure. Of course, being a hero, Danny was bound to have his fair share of enemies. And he did. One of whom was Vlad Plasmius. Now, young Vlad Masters was only 14 when his parents built a very strange machine. It was designed to view a world unseen. Okay, this is just the Danny Phantom intro again. Why? So after being hit in the face with electroplasmic energy from one of his failed university experiments, Vlad Masters became half ghost and gained ghostly powers. He is now a wealthy business owner and is a reoccurring enemy of Danny when he activates his ghostly abilities and transforms into his alternate form, Vlad Plasmius. Now these two are enemies to the bitter end, but in an alternate timeline, where all of Danny's friends and family were killed by exploding burger sauce. Am I reading this right? Everyone he knows and loves dies via a vat of burger sauce exploding. That's hilarious! Oh wow, I wish I watched this show when I was younger so I could see the expression on Danny's face after this happened. Anyway, since Danny had given into the cliche of every superhero being required to have at least one dead parent, he moved in with his arch enemy Vlad. Danny then requested to have his human and ghost halves separated so that he wouldn't have to deal with the emotional grief from his human side. Vlad complied and did the deed, forming Dark Danny Phantom. Then Dark Danny took the device Vlad used to do it and did the same to him. He then stole Vlad's ghost half and merged with it, but the evil in Vlad's ghost half had an effect on Danny, causing him to become evil too. And that's right, we have a fusion on our hands. That's right, Danny Phantom was doing fusions before it was cool. Get with it, Vegito. Oh wait, Dragon Ball Z ended over half a decade ago before Danny Phantom began. Crap. Get with it, cast of Steven Universe, you're almost a decade too late. Yeah, that works. So the fusion between Danny and Vlad's ghost halves. I wonder what he'd be called. How would their names fuse together? Well, his name is Dan Phantom. Okay, fair enough. It wasn't as much a fusion as it was a mugging and an involuntary absorption on Danny's end, but I'll let it slide. Dan has some pretty impressive abilities. He should be directly scalable and superior to Danny and Vlad, as he is a fusion of the two, meaning anything Danny and Vlad can do, so can Dan. This gives Dan the impressive abilities of intangibility, invisibility, flight, energy blast, the ghostly whale, possession, telekinesis, bottle creation, and the ability to make clones of himself. Dan's physical stats are very impressive. He's much stronger than Vlad, who is stronger than Danny. Danny is easily able to defeat building-sized ghosts. Vlad is stronger than that, and Dan is still above him, easily. Dan is also incredibly fast, again being well above the likes of Danny, who can fly at speeds of 112 miles per hour and dodge attacks that are going at Mach 17 speeds. However, Dan is not perfect. He does still have his physical limits and can be damaged easily by anti-ghost technology. And if he is surprised, he can get distracted. That's how the original Danny was able to defeat him. Overall, Dan Phantom is an incredibly powerful fusion of the ghost halves of Danny Phantom and Vlad Plasmius. He has many useful abilities, but he can be taken down by weaker foes if taken by surprise. And now, let's get ready for the fight. This battle is going to take place in the streets of New York City with no prep. Let the battle begin! And our winner is Black Suit Spidey. Now before we discuss why, I'd like to thank Josh Medley for animating this episode, as well as all the other Battle Card episodes, as well as the MLG Avocado for writing the script. And if you enjoy me as a host, thanks, I guess. The links will all be found in the description below. And now for the post-analysis. Yes, with the ghostly whale, Dan does have what it takes to deal with the symbiote by exploiting its weakness to sound, but he wouldn't know how to do this without prep. And he wouldn't be able to land the ghostly whale because of how much faster Black Suit Spider-Man is. Yes, Dan can create portals and attack Spidey from a number of different angles he wouldn't see coming, but the spider sense would allow Peter to be aware of the incoming attacks and dodge them. Also, something else worth noting is that when the symbiote was with Eddie Brock as Venom, the spider sense he gave Eddie would allow Eddie to automatically move and react without even thinking. Ultra instinct before it was cool. But there is a possibility it could have been done the same for Peter. Yes, Dan can possess people, but it isn't exactly his first resort of his during combat. And chances are he'd go from 2 half ghosts to a whole ghost before he could try, considering the stat gap, if you get what I mean. Even if Dan could bypass the spider sense and the stat gap, the symbiote allows Spidey to heal, meaning that any damage done during battle can be undone and he can recover. But any damage Dan takes, he'll just have to deal with, which will affect him in the long run. So with all this in mind, I think it's safe to say that Spider-Man would win this battle, making the winner of this battle, Black Suit Spider-Man. Now, if you do want to see the Nicktoons Unite Squad take on 4 Avengers, ha, psych, that episode's already in production. Here's a short preview. Hopefully you enjoyed that. The episode is nearly done, just a few more scenes need to be finished and handed in. We're hoping to get this episode out before episode 50, but that's just what we're hoping for, no promises. Anyway, back to Symbiote Spidey vs. Dan. Maybe, just maybe the result could change if we split up the pairs. So if you want to see the weaker versions of Spider-Man and Venom take on Danny Phantom and Vlad Plasmius, just like the video, and for 5,000 likes, there will be a rematch. Comment down your own ideas as they may become future episodes, and stay tuned as I reveal the next fighters. On the next episode of Cartoon Fight Night.
Nice. Don't let your kids watch it.
That's no good. No good. No good.
Meanwhile.